Jayden Nelson's story is unique and inspiring. The 22-year-old winger is on the cusp of World Cup selection for Canada, having joined Vancouver Whitecaps in January following a spell in Europe. But Nelson is grateful to even be playing football after being diagnosed at just 18 months old with germ cell cancer, which would eventually spread to his lungs.
I had testicular germ cell cancer, and yeah, I went through chemo, and after the chemotherapy, it spread it through my lungs. So after that point, the doctor said, yeah, there's no chance I'm going to be able to even play football, do anything, active, just because of how I recovered and the whole procedure. Growing up now, I'm under remission, and yeah, I'm just grateful to be here today, and it's just thankful to the doctors and God. So I'm happy, and I'm still running around.
Nelson was treated at the Hospital for Sick Kids in Toronto, and it was there that he found a football in a toy box and started roaming the corridors, practicing for what would eventually be his new career. Doctors had warned that physical exertion might prove tough when he grew older, but Nelson defied the odds, joining Toronto's academy in 2016. He'd go on to win the 2020 Canadian Championship with Toronto, before spells with Norway's Rosenborg and German side SSV Ulm, before Whitecaps sporting director Axel Schuster brought him back to Canada.
It was a difficult time in Germany, and I knew that I needed minutes, because around the corner it's a World Cup. I've seen what Vancouver has been doing in the past few years, and I knew they're going in the right direction. So, speaking to Axel when it was time to actually make that move, he said, yeah, the door was always open. They always were scouting me, and so that was another reason why I decided to come to Vancouver, because they always had their eyes on me. So it was a no-brainer to come.
Nelson can hardly be missed on the field due to his beaming smile and long wavy hair, not too dissimilar from his idol Ronaldinho, but for Nelson, his cut is far more than just a fashion statement.
Ronaldinho, I think he's hands down the best player ever, but it's just the way how he played with joy and creativity. It's something that drawn me to him, and I try to take little things from his game to put in mind. People have their speculations of why I have the hair. For me, it's just to remember what I've been through, and it's for me, it's like a symbol of strength. So I like to keep it long, and then to know that when I do see the pictures of me, when I did have chemo and things, and I had no hair, it's just, look at my hair now, and I was able to overcome that when I was a baby. So yeah, it's just something to keep me grounded, and yeah, that's why I have this long hair.
Nelson, there he goes. I mean, like a machete, Ortiz can't stop him.
Nelson scored once and got a hat-trick of assists on his debut against Portland, and he now has 3 goals and 8 assists so far this season as the Whitecaps contend for both the MLS Cup and the Canadian Championship. And this summer, Nelson was joined in Vancouver by Bayern legend and 2-time Champions League winner Thomas Muller.
He's a legend. He's done so much in this game, and he's won so much, and you try to take away little things that you see that could help you in your day-to-day life as a footballer, and he's come in, and before you meet a player like that, you're like, okay, how are we gonna relate to each other, and to be fair, he's a great character, great human being, and he just basically took all the young guys, and then he tries to bring his experience to all of us to show us what a winning team looks like, because he's been at Bayern for so long, and that's the mentality at first, so it's just those little things that he does as a professional that you're like, wow, this is why he's made it so far. So it's been a pleasure to really meet him and to play alongside him.
Nelson is now targeting a place in Jesse Marsch's World Cup squad, having won 10 caps for Canada already, 5 of which have come this year. He is also eligible for Jamaica, a proud part of his heritage, but had no hesitation in giving his international allegiance to Canada.
My grandpa got me into football, and he's Jamaican, so he always wanted me to play for Jamaica. So I always wanted to do that for him. But you know, I grew up in Canada. I'm a Canadian boy, and at home, yes, it's a Jamaican household, but you know, within me, I'm a Canadian guy. So I decided to play for Canada. It's a little bit less than a year that it's gonna be, you know, a kickoff in Toronto or Vancouver, you know. So it's something crazy, you know, and I'm just on the cups of being in that squad, and I'm just working towards that every day. But I think my chances are top if I keep performing the way how I am and keep going. I'm becoming the player that, you know, we all thought I could be, you know. So I think Jesse's is taking account of that, and I think I'm a Jesse type of player where I'm fast, I'm technical, and you know, I could run a lot, you know. So he likes players like me, and I just have to keep pushing to show that I could be in that squad.
Nelson's focus for now is firmly on the Whitecaps, and he's played in over 30 games this season. But Nelson hasn't been put off by a difficult time in Germany with Ulm, and a longer-term goal is to once again play in Europe. And the Premier League is of particular interest, with one North London club in particular closest to Nelson's heart.
Arsenal is my squad, so if I get to play for Arsenal one day, it would be amazing. That's my goal, to be in Europe, and that's my dream. Back in the day, Thierry Henry. Now I like Saka. I like Martin Odegaard. I like midfielders that play. You know, I like the new Max Downman. Those type of players that are just quality on the ball. So those are my favorite players so far right now.
Nelson is humble, grounded, and clearly thankful to be alive, and he could be one of the stars to look out for next summer at the 2026 World Cup.
You know, my mom always told me to remain humble, whether it's good or bad, you know, and I think that always stuck with me. And for me, I'm my biggest critic, and I put myself on a high pedestal, you know, and I want to do well for myself and to really be the best player I could be, you know. So I strive to work towards that every day, and I think working towards that and having the balance of being humble as well, it's a good combination to, you know, to achieve, you know, big things.